Hey ladies, how's everybody doing? I hope I'm finding you all well. I hope we're all going through this quarantine together, just staying as strong as we can. This is going to be the start of a little podcast that I'm putting together about just life, living through cancer in general, especially for us younger ladies. But we are welcoming anyone, ages old and young. If you're just young at heart, whatever, you're welcome. We're all in this. We're all breast cancer strong survivor sisters. We are in this together. But there is definitely a lot of people out there who are saying that there just isn't a young population of people with cancer, and we're finding more and more these days that there's so many of us, and we just want to have a place where you guys can come and comment and just kind of give your input, tell your story, and we're really excited to have you here. So today it's just me, yours truly. I'm going to be talking at you for most of our episodes, but we will be bringing on some young breast cancer survivors, some people going through it, as well as some advocates. Obviously not in person quite yet. That will be in the eventual future. Right now we're going to be streaming in everybody, most of our girls from Philadelphia, and we're going to have a lot from all over the world. So it's going to be exciting. We're going to have their little video conference so they can talk with you guys too. So we hope you're watching. We are going to post some questions and different topics, things like that you'll see with a lot of our breast cancer support forums. But for now, we just want to give a little kind of intro, and today I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and my story. So my name is Candace Maston, and I am 32 years old. Actually, just as of a couple weeks ago. I had my little quarantine birthday. It was fun, and we try to stay away from sugar while we're going through treatment, but I did spoil myself with some chocolate chip oatmeal banana cookies. They were really good, and ice cream, and we had a little at-home celebration, so that was nice. I do feel lucky right now that I was kind of self-quarantining before all of this COVID scare, and just kind of staying at home and resting regardless, just because I am in the middle of ongoing treatment. And so now I feel like the world is kind of going through it with me. It worked out with timing wise. I do miss being out in the sunshine. I do miss being able to go and come and go as I please. But a lot of times, this is my second time around. While I'm going through this, it's just, you just want to be at home in your own space, and where you can kind of relax and recuperate and, try to feel yourself again. So I was probably going to be at home resting a lot anyway, and just getting through it. I know you guys have all been there. So some of us watching are fellow survivors, patients, just someone interested in who we are and what we're doing, and some of you are caretakers. And we want to let you know that you're just as important too, and you're welcome to come into these discussions, pose questions, answer. You may not have gone through it, but you maybe have seen it firsthand, so you may have some quality input, and we'd love to have you just say, we're just here to talk. We're just here to girl talk, right? There are some gentlemen I've talked to as well that are interested. For those of you who didn't know, men can have breast cancer too. You guys are welcome. We're going to be predominantly ladies, but if you're a guy and you want to talk with us and you love pink, come on over. So we're really happy to have you all here and tell you the rest of my story. So I was diagnosed. Initially, they thought something was wrong when I was 24 years old. It came back inconclusive, and I kind of just, went about my life, and I had several friends and family members, coworkers, what have you, tell me, I'm sure it's not cancer, don't worry about it, but, stay on it, this and that. And I didn't experience any other troubles until I was 26 years old. And I did have it's where they call inverted nipple, and it's where it's dimpling, and it was purple, and it was very noticeable, and it was a godsend that I had a physical sign. So, I was able to see something, but you can't always. But in my case, I did see something and got it checked out, and I was officially diagnosed at 26 years old in 2015, or end of 2014. And I've been fighting ever since. I had a small gap on the road to recovery. I was about to hit my 5-year mark and celebrate being in remission, and it came back. So I'm in the midst of things one more time, but it's my belief that God's in control. He's got this, and we're just getting through it, taking it day by day, and I did it once. I can do it again. So last Tuesday was my last chemo for this time around, which is amazing, and I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that it is my last chemo ever. Be really excited to be able to say that. And I do find out about radiation starting May 19th, and May 12th is when I go in and set up my schedule for all that. So there might be a little gap in between these episodes while I'm just figuring out radiation. I didn't go through that my first time, so the second time around, while I'm going through it, I'm just going to be seeing how that goes. So right now, I do live in Southern California. I'm in Riverside County. For those of you who don't know, Huntington Beach is probably a little over an hour's drive, and that's where I'm going to be receiving most of my treatment. So I have a little bit of travels ahead of me. I appreciate any good thoughts, vibes, prayers, whatever you want to throw at me, because that's going to be a whole adventure, especially with trying to take myself or organize rides where someone may have to stay in the car, and then you have to come up and you have to drive up, you have to call, you have to let them know that you're there, and then they take your temperature, they do all this kind of testing, this and that. It's crazy. It's a whole different world, a whole new world that we live in. And we just wanted to, I want to pose the question, how are you guys dealing with this? What's going on with your cancer journey being affected by the virus? And COVID-19, it's not stronger than us. It's not. I want to put that out there. But it is okay to be scared. It is okay to have questions and concerns, even more so than someone who were more healthy and not immunocompromised. We're a whole different section. We have to be a little more cautious. So just let me know in the comment thread. I'm going to post this as soon as possible. So I look forward to reading those and being able to answer as best as I can. And if I can't, there are thousands of women who I'm connected with who might be able to, if they're watching, give a better input. So that's the beauty of this thing, is that we're all going to be kind of going through this together. So in my experience, I feel a little bit more prepared because I was already being careful. I already knew I don't have an immune system. I don't have any way to fight, even just that nasty flu that was kind of going around during the holidays, and I always get it for some reason every Halloween. I get super sick, even before the cancer. That's my thing. And so I was like, I just can't fight these things well, and I'm just so sick forever. So we're just like, we're extra careful anyway, and I felt a little more prepared, and I just kept kind of doing what I was already doing, but kicking it up a little step once we found out about the quarantine. So I'll say a little bit more about myself. I was diagnosed with DCIS. I did have the mastectomy, just the unilateral left side, and I decided to do that instead of a lumpectomy, just because I said, let's not risk it. And even still, the cancer did come back. Predominantly, it came back in a few places this time, unfortunately, but predominantly in that same area, and it came back behind my implant. So ladies, just always be on top of this. Always do your at-home self-checks. You never know. I mean, it's a horrible disease, and again, it's not stronger than us, but it has a mind of its own, and we don't fully understand it yet. We're getting there. I know we are. science is coming close every year. But we don't fully understand. We can't say, oh, you're not going to get it in this location again. You might, and that's not meant to be scary. That's not meant to be a harsh warning. It's just meant to be, be cautious, and you can't underestimate it. So I look at it with, if it was going to come or it wasn't, at least it's not somewhere new, and I can just, it's in the same boob. So I've been through this before, and I feel like we can do it again. It was a little concerning because I was like, what did we miss? Did they not get it all? What did we do differently? So that is why I do have a different oncologist this time around who's friends with my previous one. Nothing wrong with her, and she helped me fight for my life the first time around. She just has an overwhelming amount of patience, as she's just a very busy, incredible woman out here in California. Very well known for what she does. But I'm working with a friend of hers who's super understanding, and he's a little more laid back, and I appreciate that. And he's just kind of walking me through it and saying, we did this right before, but we didn't do this, what have you. So we're going to try things a little different. The first time around, many of you are going to notice they're telling you, but they're also asking you. A good doctor wants you to be involved. They want you to know the process that you're going through. So we decided the first time around that radiation wasn't necessary, that I might be able to beat this with just my surgery alone, chemotherapy, and then the hormone therapy. Now, speaking of hormone therapy, I want to talk to you ladies about tamoxifen, and there are other brand names. There are other drugs that are very similar in that same family. This is meant to be afterwards. This is meant to be the stay away cancer drug. Now, a lot of you might have some apprehensions about that. I did myself. A lot of you might say, I've read up on it. I've done my research. It has a lot of side effects. Is this worth it? And I'm going to tell you, it's hard. And at the same time, as I want to tell you, ladies, always be your own advocate. Always ask questions. I'm not saying second guess, as we're always living worried, but if you do have a second guess, if you do have a doubt, ask. That's the best thing that you can do, because at the end of the day, these people have gone to medical school. They're professionals. They do this for a living, but they're still human. So we have to do this. This is a fight that we do together, not only with our doctors, but with each other. Ask questions. Someone may have gone through something that you hadn't. There might be a treatment where they live that you don't have where you live, but but it's accessible. Some of it's brand new, and some of it's amazing. And sometimes it just works for one woman and it doesn't for the other. But anyway, back to my point. I just decided I was going to eat healthy, and I was going to do this the old-fashioned way, and I was going to, I had already beat cancer, and I was going to keep it away by living a healthy lifestyle. I can't say that I 100% committed to that, but I tried my very best, and sometimes the cancer comes back, and it's not our fault. It's no one's fault. It comes out of nowhere, and we don't know why. And it's attributed to many things. Even if you're eating healthy, there's chemicals, there's pesticides on the food we eat. It's in the air we breathe. It's everywhere around us. And some of our bodies are just more prone to that. And all we can do is do our best to stay on top of things and live our healthiest life. But you still got to live. Anyway, I tried the more homeopathic approach, and I have nothing against that. I still advocate for it. I still 100% say, get yourself a nutritionist, work with them. It can do nothing but help. And there are people out there who have fought this solely doing those type of things. But that's not for everyone, and it hasn't been thoroughly proven that's some sort of cure. Otherwise, we would have the cure for cancer already. And I may have a little controversy with the comments over that. That's okay. I just want to put what I mean. It has to be both medication and a healthy lifestyle kind of married together. And that's the best approach. So I was young, I was naive, and I had a lot of questions and a lot of mixed answers, and I didn't get any definite answers. And I did I was working with someone at my infusion center who was just a little hot-tempered, overwhelmed, whatever it was, and she just kind of said, "This is what you have to do." Not why. She didn't answer questions, and I just didn't know who to go to. I didn't know who to ask. So I stopped taking it because I didn't like the side effects. Another thing about me is that I have a lot of GI issues. I was born with them. I have GERD. I have ulcerative colitis. I've had a couple ulcers. I just have a varied amount of intestinal problems. And I've been tested for Crohn's and lupus. I had a lot going on before the cancer as well, which made my body even more so prone to having it. So it didn't come as such a shock and surprise. I just knew something was wrong. And it kind of made me feel better about why I just wasn't always feeling very well. But anyway, I was dealing with all those issues, and the tamoxifen in my case kind of irritated that, or would give me like what we would call a flare up here and there, and I didn't like it. And I thought, well, I'm a young woman and I'm living in this cancer world, and I am not where most of my doctor's patients are when they're diagnosed. I'm not 45. I'm not 50. I'm not older. I haven't lived my life, and now, and there's nothing to say that they don't still have a life to live. They do. A lot of these women are young, vibrant party animals, and, more power to them. They're amazing, and some of them are my new best friends that I've met through all of this. But what I am saying is that their bodies have been through a lot, and most of them have had children, and the way that it affects them is terrible and sad, and I don't want them to go through this either. But they're not necessarily worried about the reproductive repercussions. That was a tongue twister. But those type of issues. And so I really did advocate for either a female doctor who understood what I was going through and had children of her own, or a male doctor who's just able to sympathize, able to listen. And I didn't, unfortunately, get that. I had someone who said, you have cancer, don't have kids. Just point blank. I mean, there are a lot of brilliant doctors out there who have no people skills whatsoever. I'm not kidding. It's crazy. And so I really had to say, hey, I respect everything that you're doing. I think you're doing amazing work with my healthcare plan, but you can't talk to people like that. And as we became closer, we became kind of friends. You just have to take people with a grain of salt for they are. And he was okay. And I said, I'm going to tell you as a friend, not as your patient, that I took what you said and I didn't like it, but I have other people that I can, that have my back, that I can rely on, people that I can talk to. I have the resources to ask other professionals, but not everybody has that. Some people are coming in here and they're diagnosed and they're alone, and you're all they have, and you're going to make someone cry. And I just sat him down and I was like, point blank, you got to work on the bedside manner a little bit, buddy. Hoping that he did. As I said, I did move closer to family. At the time I was living in Orange County, and now I'm back in the Inland Empire. I know that means nothing to anyone who's not from California, but I moved about an hour away, so I'm in a different bracket of healthcare providers. And although I still receive a lot of treatment in Orange County, because that's where the infusion center is, my just normal day-to-day appointments were in Riverside by my house. So I had a different doctor. Anyway, all that to say, I had a lot of worries about taking the hormonal therapy. I thought, this is going to possibly destroy my chances of having kids. I had all these things that Google, unfortunately, Wikipedia, WebMD, those types of things. I tried to look into a little bit more reliable sources than those, but I was still on the internet and I still didn't know what I was looking at. And, I just decided it has more cons than pros, and I'm not going to do it. So I waited 6 months and I hadn't taken it, and I was doing good. So I waited a year and I hadn't taken it, and I was doing real good. And I was like, see, I know what I'm talking about. Turns out that I didn't. And I can't say that the tamoxifen would have saved me from going through this again, but I can't say that it wouldn't have. So this time around, I'm going to do my due diligence and I'm going to try it, because I had a voice this time. I asked, I said, why? These are my concerns. And why do you recommend it? Because I wanted to make sure it wasn't just a drug that made somebody money or something like that. And I said, I'm a unique case. My cancer has not metastasized. There are a lot more people who are going through metastatic cancer than you know. But anyway, I was BRCA negative. Even though female members of my immediate family were positive, I was negative. Then inconclusive, so I was like, oh, maybe I am positive. Retested again, still negative. I have my own variation of my own personal cancer. So I said, I've done some research, and it looks like what the tamoxifen targets, that doesn't even apply to me. The numbers just aren't there. So what good is it doing me? And I just had all of these things, but there's a lot more to the research than I knew. And I didn't know where to look. And now I've been guided to where to look. And yes, there will be side effects. But if that means that during that gap when I'm healthy, not if, when, I encourage you all to say the same, that I do decide to have children, that I can be around for them, that I can stay here. And I'm working with someone who understands my want to have a family, and we're making a plan. So anyway, that's a little bit about me. I'm going to go over a little bit of just what we're going to talk about here. Like I said, sorry, this chair moved. This is my fiance's chair, and it's like one of those gaming chairs, and it's like, wah! You know what I mean? It's alive. So anyway, I bought it. I don't know all the things it does. It's my first time wearing makeup in like a month. I've been living that quarantine life, jammies every day. Also that going through chemo life where you don't care, you're just like, and I do a couple of these episodes bald, because why not, Bought myself a couple fun wigs on Amazon. Got a pink one, and then I got a natural hair colored one, and then it's like a silvery ash blonde, and then it has like blue at the end. So I was like, I'm gonna do some fun ones. It's my third time being bald. This is, like I said, this is my second time going through the breast cancer journey. But I had some health problems before in the past, and I had been pretty much like Britney Spears bald, and so I'd been through it before. I also had some questions arise with one of my doctors when I was about 12 or 13 concerning whether I might have skin cancer, and it turned out I saw a dermatologist, and it turned out to be negative, but I just feel like the testing that I went through at that time was maybe inconclusive, or they just didn't test all that they needed to test. But it was just one of those situations where I had a mole that needed to be removed. But it is surprising to me that it's very near to where the location of the breast cancer is. So, it's just that side of my body doesn't like me. Some of that is speculation about my skin cancer non-diagnosis. But, I keep an eye on that side of the body. That doesn't mean that I don't still perform my own self-checks on the other side, too. I want to make sure, that I make sure this side stays healthy. We don't want it traveling to the other side. So, again, what we're going to go over a little bit during these episodes is just what it's like to be a young woman living with cancer. I know I want to talk about just women living with cancer in general, people living with cancer in general, but very specifically, and I encourage you older ladies, you know what, I'm just going to call you a little more seasoned, that you listen along with us, and that you share some of your wisdom if you feel compelled to do so. I'm sorry, I'm super distracted by the fact that I drew one eyebrow like way bigger. I don't have any eyebrows. This is all makeup, so I'm just like, sorry if they're crazy. I have chemo brain and chemo eyes. It affects your vision, so I'm just like, whatever. I know you ladies don't care. But anyway, I hope that you all listen along with us. as we talk about just the struggles of being a young woman in this world right now. There are a lot of things that I tell people that they simply cannot believe that I come that I encounter. There are a lot of programs out there that are meant to help women with cancer, and they're like, "Oh, you're under 40, so you don't qualify." And I said, "Can I ask you why not?" And they said, "Most women under 40, you probably don't have cancer." And I said, "No, as a matter of fact, I'm not calling in case I get cancer. I'm calling because I have it." The second time, actually, in my young life. I was diagnosed in my 20s, and then they were like shocked. And I said, "You know what? When I've been to my infusion center where I get treated, it is predominantly older women. I would say 40 and above. But there are a lot of us. If there are more than, you know what? No. I want to say if there's more than 10, there's a lot of us. If there's more than one of us, there's one too many. The fact is that we exist. And we deserve to be included in those programs. And I know that there are a lot of different resources out there and different groups that are trying to advocate towards that. And God bless them, because there's just not enough out there for us. There's not a way to navigate it. There's not a plan put in place for the care of a cancer patient who is premenopausal, who has not had children, who is just at a beginning stage of their life, who is getting tested in the first place. This one I really want to bring home. We cannot just get a mammogram. We can't. And first of all, it's hard to be able to get a hold of just being able to get one. Second of all, we can't just get a mammogram and have a diagnosis. We have denser breasts. Some of you women over 40, you still do. So I still recommend everybody, you need a ultrasound, especially if you feel something. If you have any discoloration, concern, raised, changes to your skin, raised bumps, anything. Don't let them tell you it's a blocked milk duct. Don't let them tell you it's not. It's this, it's that. You have to kind of almost demand, no, I want to be tested. I want to know for sure. I know a lot of the insurances, plans, doctors, whatever out there don't always approve that, but reach out. There are resources. We can get you connected. We can get you tested. We can get it all figured out. It's much like where we're going to be with this COVID thing. There's not enough testing. There's just not enough testing. But we need to get these women checked out and properly, because there's so many misdiagnoses. I was, like I said, I originally was diagnosed 2 years prior, and I was told it's probably nothing. Then when I was originally diagnosed, I was told, it's a stage 0, so we caught it in time. And then I went through the horror story that is our healthcare system. And when I was finally approved to go ahead and meet with a doctor and try to get treatment, I was stage 3. That's unacceptable. That means the cancer is starting to grab hold of my life, and someone allowed that to be. And it wasn't going to be me. So that really is where that's what put my heart into researching. I just sat down with my computer and I said, God, just show me what to look for. And I said, I want to be in this. I want to be involved in this. I want this to be what I do with my life. And helping others who went through the same situation I was going through, because this is not going to happen to anybody else. That's what I said. And a lot of you, I see that same spirit, and that's awesome. Rock on, girls. I said, I want to help. I want to be a part of this. So I reached out to an organization called Living Beyond Breast Cancer. I will be sharing it to their page as well. Hi, ladies. Miss and love you all. As well as some other pages. But that's where I really just found a home. I found, my sisters, as I call them. People who became my really good friends. Sorry. I was able to go to a young advocates retreat where I was trained a little with a little more structure on how to reach out to these women, how to help out, how to organize fundraisers, which we've been doing, and just what I could do to make a change. And so I joined this group. I was able to travel out to one of their conferences, and I had just the time of my life. And I was like, okay, there's a reason I have this. We did some yoga, we had some training, we did face paints, we hung out. We just had a blast. And I'm looking forward to the next one. Unfortunately, not healthy enough to travel right now. Oh, I mean, we all can't travel right now, but I wasn't this time around anyway. And so when I beat it this next time, I look forward to doing that again and sharing a little bit about what I've had going on in my life. But for the time being, I'll do that right here from my living room. So yeah. Oh, excuse me. I have a little technical issue. I have so many things like plugged into different places, and I'm still learning. And I heard a noise, and I was like, oh, I don't want that to be a part of the video. Anyway, so I reached out, and that is the biggest part of fighting this, is just stay positive, stay on top of it. And when you're feeling well enough, I encourage you all to get out there, be a part of any group, and just have that kind of support system. It's amazing. So we can get on there, we can listen to podcasts, we can ask and answer questions, we can get connected, we can just talk to people who are going through what we're going through, because it will surprise you how little the population knows about what we're going through, and they're not sure how to respond to that. So I would like to make a whole episode at one point about just maybe how, if you're someone who doesn't have cancer, how you might approach a patient, what you might say to them, what you might not say. Just some different ideas like that I've come up with, and if anyone else has any other ideas, we'd love to have those as well, just because this needs to be a topic, because it's hard. This goes for just a lot of different things that people are going through, any stigmas out there, but specifically for us, there's a lot going on, and there's a lot of questions we hear repeatedly, and we're trying to be sweet, but it's tough. So anyway, so I reached out to the Living Beyond Breast Cancer. I encourage you all to check out their Facebook page, or just their Living Beyond Breast Cancer. It's lbbc.org, and you'll see the little purple and yellow butterfly. Just check out what they've got going on. It's amazing. They do some great work. Bright pink as well. Great support system for our younger ladies especially. It's amazing. There's just a lot of resources out there. Even your regular American Cancer Society, they've got stuff going on, and they're everywhere. I do have my beliefs that there are some that are a little bit more focused on the women, rather than just, let's face it, cancer is $1 billion thing, and I hate to say there are some out there that take advantage of it, but there are some great ones too, and you kind of just have to do your research to find those good ones. And if you're getting the help you need, take advantage of it. Do whatever you need to do to fight this, and I hope that you find the right group that works for you. It's helpful to me I'm kind of a part of a couple of them. It just helps me in general reach out to more people, make different types of friends. Some are a little bit more local to myself, in Los Angeles, and I'm able to kind of be a part of those groups in different ways. Maybe advocacy here. I swear I can talk. You ladies who have yet to experience chemo brain, my heart goes out to you. It is, if you're a mommy, it's like pregnancy brain. I'm assuming. I don't have children yet, but it's just this like fog of like, what am I doing? And blah, 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 blah. Anyway, I'll do some advocacy with one group, or with this group. I'll help out with one of their relays, their organizations. I'll take pictures. I used to be a Disneyland photographer, and that was a lot of fun while I was doing it. And so photography is something that is near and dear to my heart. Let's see. Trying to think of what else we might bring up in this first episode. We'll wrap up pretty quickly here. I don't want to keep you ladies too long. I just wanted to kind of just put a format out there, put a layout of what we're going to be talking about. Like I said, we're going to have different topics. If you have one in mind, something that you'd like to bring to the table, something you would like to have discussed, I encourage you all to get a hold of me via Facebook Messenger if possible. And if it works out better, I may say, hey, here's my cell phone number, message me personally. We'll discuss this further, and we'll see how we can bring this to the light. If you'd like to have a little guest spot on my show, then I would love to have you, and we can kind of go over discussing this together, have that open dialogue so people can just listen to different points of view. I would love it. That would be perfect. So for next week's episode, what I would love to do is, like I said, I want to talk about how to approach a young woman just going through all of this. For example, what I'm saying when I say that is we're going through something that we cannot explain. It changes your hormones. It changes your thoughts. It changes your self-esteem. It shouldn't, but it does. And it changes how you feel. Let me tell you, there are days when I feel like must be how it feels to be 80. And if you are 80 and this is nowhere near it, I apologize. But I just feel like I cannot be 32. And, there are days when things ache. There are things when my body's doing, I don't know what it's doing. There are a lot of women who, going through the treatment, go through menopausal symptoms, and so you're just going through that. You're hot, you're cold, you're this, you're that. You're sick, you can't eat, you want to. And sometimes that little only joy you have in the day is that treat, and then, you can't have it because it's, sugar feeds the cancer, or this or that, or you've heard this. You know what? Try to be healthy as best you can, but like I said, you still have to live a little. But some of us aren't feeling well, and we don't mean to be, but we're a little, agitated, or this or that, or we just want to rest. And a lot of people approach the subject with, when we're first diagnosed, well, are you going to lose your hair? Probably, yes. Well, why? Do you want to be? No, we don't want to be bald. I mean, some of us do, and I rock it. I mean, it's much easier, let me tell you. Or they just have different comments and questions about why is this, and sometimes we're happy to answer. Some of us are, not all of us are an open book. You have to know who you're talking to, and those of us who are comfortable, sometimes we don't know the answers either. So we're doing the best we can, but we hear these constant things, and we do want to know that you care, and it's amazing that you're concerned, but we get a lot of the, how you doing, all the time. And sometimes we just want to be encouraged. We just want to feel as normal as possible. And there's nothing wrong with saying, I'm worried about you, I'm concerned, I've been praying for you, I love you, all these kind of things. But you also need to throw in just some regular, like, hey girl, how's it going? And, what are we doing later? And try to make them feel as normal as possible, while at the same time respecting their need to, I can't make it tonight, I'm going to stay home, and I'm going to rest, or it just hit me out of nowhere. Tonight's not a good night. Right now we're all stuck in quarantine, so we're all got a little cabin fever, so that kind of stuff doesn't matter right now, but it will again. So I just want to go through just some different ways that you can communicate with someone who's going through this, with a caretaker, with a loved one, especially someone with a diagnosis that's a little more advanced, and this is serious. They have a ton of things racing through their mind, and there are certain things that you might say, but there are different things that they need you to say. and just be there. That's it. Sometimes that's all they need you to do is just be there. So that's the direction I want to go for the next episode, and we'll have one where we talk about healthy eating, and there are a lot of different homeopathic approaches out there. I would love to discuss a few options of those and just see what everybody thinks about this or that. We'll discuss, do you drink soy or coconut milk? Do you still drink dairy? Do you stay away from sugar? This or that. Because we're all learning here. And would love to hear out your ideas. So that's the plan for the next few episodes. And then by episode 4, we're going to be having one of my girlfriends join us here. And we'll leave that to be a little surprise episode, but she has some fun ideas. And she's a little more musically inclined. So it'll be a really fun episode. I can't wait to have her on here and have you guys meet her as well. So, like I said, I would love to chat with you all, and I can't wait to hear from you, and I hope you all have a wonderful night. I hope you're all staying safe through this quarantine. I know it's hard to wait it out, but wash your hands, wear your mask, encourage your loved ones to do so as well. Don't be afraid to say, I am immunocompromised. Please exercise more caution around me. Please stay that 6 feet away. If you do have to go out, unfortunately, we do have to travel back and forth to treatment. There are things that we still have to do, but if you can, stay home, rest, let your body recover. For those of us who are survivors, you may not be going through the treatment, but your body, your body has still been through it. You can still be considered immunocompromised, still exercise caution, other than your immediate family, just try to keep those numbers down with how many people we're interacting with. Just do the best that you can. I'm looking forward to talking to all of you all next episode, and I hope that you all enjoy the rest of your night. I'm about to go eat some yummy dinner, and I will talk to you all soon. Good night.